Hello. I am Linux Mensch. For those of you that have been following my channel, you know that I do most of my videos in virtual machines. And I use Virt-Manager on top of Qemu to make my virtual machines. I don't use VirtualBox. So yesterday I went to make a video and I went into a virtual machine of Debian and my virtual machine wasn't working. It was really slow and laggy, and the keyboard wasn't working, and the mouse wasn't working, and I thought, what's going on? Then I closed it, and I opened up a virtual machine of Arch Linux, and the same thing was happening. I'm like, what's wrong? So, of course, whenever something's not working properly, the first thing I do is I reboot my system. Usually that fixes things. So I rebooted my system. I went back into Virt-Manager, opened up a virtual machine of Arch Linux and a virtual machine of Debian, and the same thing. It's not functioning properly. So this is what I did. This is how I discovered the problem, and this is how I fixed it. Now, what I've done is this. I fixed it, and then today I reversed it back to the way it was, just so I can show you how it was functioning. So this is Virt-Manager. These are all my virtual machines. I'm just going to open up my Arch system. Well, one of my Arch virtual machines. And I'm going to play it. And I'm going to make it full screen. And I'm just going to pick a kernel that I want to go into. Oh, and that's another thing too. Another thing that I tried fixing is in my Arch Linux system, I tried switching kernels. I thought maybe if I switch a kernel in my virtual machine, that might fix it, and that didn't fix it either. But anyways, I'm just going to log into the stable kernel. I have several kernels in this virtual machine, and it's loading up, and this virtual machine is not encrypted, so it's just going to take me to the login screen. So we're at the login screen. So right away you notice I'm logged into the most current stable kernel. Notice the cursor is not blinking. Anyways, I'm going to type in my username. MENCH, look at, nothing's happening. And if you wait and wait and wait, eventually after 5 or 10 minutes, Mensch might show up. But then I realized, playing around with it today, you don't have to wait for it to show up. You can just hit enter, and there it goes. So now I'm going to put my password in. And of course, in Arch Linux, in the TTY, the password, the user password never shows up as asterisk, so that you're typing something anyways, okay? So I'm going to put my password in, and I'm going to hit enter. Okay, everything looks good, right? So now I'm going to type in startx, STARTX. Nothing happens. Look at that. Where's my word startx? I just typed it in. Now, if I wait 5 minutes or so, probably the word startx will show up, because that's what was happening yesterday. Anyways, if I hit enter though, I realized by playing around with it today, if I hit it, it's there, you just can't see it, the word startx. So if I hit enter, it takes you in. So now we're in the awesome window manager, but look at, where's my bottom bar? My bottom bar is gone. And if I do right click menu, not everything is showing up in the menu. Like I have stuff down here in the menu. Like I have Xterm at the bottom. I think I have some other things underneath the volume. Where is it? Now, let's see if we can get into a terminal. So I'm going to do, now I can't get into the terminal through the menu because it's not showing up. Well, I guess I could go into UXterm, but I'm not going to do that. Let's just do mod key enter. Ah, the terminal's working. Oh, my bottom bar is back. So let's close the terminal now. Ah, my bottom bar is back, but look at something funny. So in my time, I have seconds here. Look at the seconds aren't moving. Now, if we just sit here and go away for 10 minutes and come back, and I know this because I tried it this morning. I experimented with it. If I go away for 10 minutes and come back, the time is still going to be at 8:41:07. So like right now, the real time is 8:41, well, and 47 seconds. We're at 50 seconds now, okay? But if I go away for 10 minutes and come back, it's still going to be at 8:41 and 7 seconds. And then if I hit, let's say, open up a terminal, it's going to fix it. So now look at, see the clock jump to 8:42:02. So even if it was 10 minutes off, when I open up a terminal, it's going to throw the correct time in, but still the seconds are not working and the time is frozen. Now I'm in the terminal. Let's type in a command. Let's type in htop. HTOP. How come it's not showing up? I just typed in htop. But if I hit enter, it's going to take me into it. Now the funny thing is that htop is active. You can see we're running at 232 megabytes of RAM. And the clock in htop is active. You can see up here, the seconds are moving. This virtual machine's been up for 3 minutes now, almost 4 minutes. And the seconds are moving and things are moving in here. So that seems to be working fine. But still, this clock is frozen at 8:42 and 32 seconds. Now, if I close htop, see, now the clock jumped to 8:43:11. And let's open up my menu again. And still, the whole menu is not showing. And let's open up a terminal and let's just shut down. SHUTDOWN space now. So I typed in shutdown now, but how come it's not showing up in the terminal? But if I hit enter, and if I typed it right, it's going to shut it down. So when I noticed this the other day, I didn't know what was wrong. It was doing it in my Arch system, and it was doing it in my Debian, and I think I tried it in Linux Mint Debian as well. And it wasn't functioning properly. And I rebooted, and that didn't fix it. So what I did was, let's close that. So I went into my bare metal machine, opened up a terminal, and I typed in all updates. Now, when I type in all updates in my system, they all come up. Now I'm just going to close this for a second. Now, if you downloaded and you're using my Zesh configuration file, well, if you're using Zesh and you're using my configuration file, that will work for you. If you type in all updates, it's going to bring in all updates since you installed your system. If you're not using my Zesh configuration file, you could do this. Vim Zesh RC. And this is the command here. Whoop. Line 289. This is the command. So if you see on line 289, if you go into your terminal and type in this command, without the quotation marks, it will do the same thing. It will work. It will bring up all the updates since you installed your system. Okay. So you're going to type in that command at 289 without the quotes and it will work. So let's just get out of here. But if you're using my Zesh configuration file, you can just type in all updates. So now you can see the first update I did was September the 5th, 2022, a year ago September. Because a year ago in September, I reinstalled Arch Linux into my bare metal computer, my main production computer. I did a fresh install. And the reason why is that my computer wasn't encrypted. So I never used to encrypt my hard drives, and now I do. So I did a fresh install a year ago September, encrypted my hard drive and on my main production machine. So that's why it brings you to, when you do this, it brings you to the top of the list. So you see the very first update was September 2022. So now I'm going to go to the bottom. So I'm going to hit Shift G. So now we're at the bottom. Now I'm going to scan up. Now, if you know, there's updates here. And the reason why is that I fixed my system. And then I reverted back to it not working so I could make this video. So let's just scan up. So I went into this file yesterday, and you can see at the top of the screen right here, on December 22nd, I did an upgrade of Brave. Let's just go up one more. So on December 22nd, I upgraded this XML sec file, which I don't even know what that is, and I updated Brave, which is from the AUR, and so that's another story. I'm not going to talk about that, but that was my last update. Then on December 25th, on Christmas Day, I did all these updates. Okay, they were all updated, and actually goes even further down. Let's go down to the end of December 25th. Wow, there's a lot of updates. Okay, that's the 26th. Okay, so the 25th goes down to here. So all these updates happened on December 25th. Now look at all these Qemus. So Virt-Manager is just a GUI front end for Qemu, and I don't know how to pronounce it. Qemu, Qemu. And Qemu is the program that runs my virtual machines. Now, I was looking at this and I'm going, wow, look at all these Qemus. And they were updated on December 25th at 14:48, which is 10 to 3. So what happened on Christmas Day at 10 to 3? I did an update, and then my wife and I went out to visit family. And then the next day, I went to make a video, and I opened up a virtual machine, and I noticed my virtual machines are not working properly. So what did I do? I went to another workspace, and I opened up Firefox, and I typed in Arch Linux, and let's just make this a little larger, and I typed in Virt-Manager. I went here, and I see Virt-Manager was last updated in May. I know that's not the problem. And I know Qemu was updated on Christmas Day because I could see in my terminal, but I typed it in anyways. It's Qemu. Let's search it. So here you can see Qemu. All these Qemu files were updated on the 25th, like we saw in my terminal. So I thought to myself, okay, let's just revert back to Qemu. Now, I was having a problem with Ramina. Now, Ramina, in the summertime, I was having a problem with Ramina. Now, Ramina is an app that I use in my Linux system to log into our Windows 10 cloud system at work. And in the summertime, Ramina stopped working. So I went and downgraded to a previous version of it, and it was working again. Then a few months later, it stopped working. And then again, I downgraded to a previous version of it, and it worked. Finally, it stopped working, and it didn't work for 2 months. And then eventually, I ended up installing Ramina from the AUR, and so far, it's working fine. But that's another story, and I've kind of gone off topic. So, but the point is that when I reverted to an older version of Ramina, Ramina is one file or one app. So I went and reverted to it, and I blocked my Pacman file from updating it, so it would stay at the older version. So I only had to revert one file, and I only had to tell Pacman to ignore updating one package. But these Qemu packages, look at how many there are. There must be, I don't know if there's 30 or 20 of them. I didn't count them. And all of these were updated in my system on December 25th. Look at them all. Wow. So how am I going to revert all these packages to the previous version and tell my Pacman car to ignore updating all these packages without reverting other packages. Like I don't want to revert the security patches to an older version or Firefox to an older version or what. I didn't want to revert. Now, so let's get out of there. I'm going to close this. Let's go back to workspace 1. So on the 25th, there were other things that were updated that have nothing to do with this. And I've gone too far. So for instance, I didn't want to revert this TZ data or the Arch Linux keyring or the lib DRM or this Cinnamon screensaver that was also updated on the 25th. I didn't want to revert Cinnamon screensaver or Nemo or HW lock or Cinnamon, my Cinnamon desktop environment, which is also installed on my bare metal computer. I didn't want to revert the Cinnamon desktop, which was also updated on December 25th. I only wanted to revert the Qemu. I thought, it's all these packages. How am I going to do it? So this is what I did. I'm going to close this. So this is what I did. I went into sudo vim. Well, I'm doing that wrong. I went into sudo vim etc pacman d / mirror list. And I put my password in. So here I have all the mirrors from all over the world. So we go down to the bottom, there's over 900 mirrors, right? Let's go back to the top. But they're all these mirrors are deactivated because they have the hashtag in front of them. And they're the color, I don't know if that's blue or turquoise. They're commented out, they're deactivated. So I have these two top mirrors are the mirrors that I'm using. And I don't know if you can hear my cat crying in the background. I have two cats. And one of the cats is playing with her toy. And I don't know if you can hear her crying in the background or not. So anyways, I have these two mirrors are activated. And these are the mirrors I do my downloading from. This line up here, line number 6, that wasn't there before. I put that line in there to fix my system. Okay, so if you go into your mirror list, you're not going to see line number 6 there. You're not going to see that there. You're going to have to type it in yourself. And I manually typed in that mirror or that line. Okay, so right now it's commented out. And the reasons why it's commented out is that I fixed my system and then I reverted back to the way it was so I could make the video. So I'm going to leave that line in there for myself. So if I ever have to use it again, all I have to do is uncomment it and go and change the dates. That's all. So anyways, I typed in that line, uncommented, and I commented out my the mirrors that I'm using like that. So right now, the status of this mirror list is all the mirrors are commented out, all the mirrors are deactivated. And I only have one line that's activated, and that's this line. And what this line is going to do, it's going to reverse all my updates to December 24th because the problem happened on December 25th. So it's going to reverse all the updates back to December 24th. Okay, so now I'm going to save the list. I'm going to clear the screen. And I'm going to type in this line, sudo pacman space dash capital S YYUU. Okay, so let's hit it and see what happens. And what's going to happen, it's going to reverse all the updates after anything that got updated after December 24th. It's going to reverse it. So here we go. And it's warning me. And let's continue with the installation. Okay, so it's downgrading all the Qemu, but it's also downgrading some other apps that I didn't want it to downgrade. And there we go. That didn't even take 30 seconds. So now I'm going to clear the screen. And I'm going to leave that up there. And now I'm going to go back to Virt-Manager and let's see if it's working. So let's open up Virt-Manager. Now, the first time it's going to take a little bit longer to open up. And let's just close it again and see if it takes as long to open up the second time. I think it's just reconnecting all the files and stuff. Let's try it again. Let's open up Virt-Manager. Okay, now it opens up fast. Now let's open up that Arch Linux system that I had running. Let's play it. Let's make it full screen. And let's just go into the same kernel that we were using a moment ago. A moment ago, I was using the most current stable kernel. Just keep things the same. So it's loading up. Now this virtual machine is not encrypted, so it's going to take me right to login. Now look at it, the login. Look at the cursor is flashing now. Okay, so that's working right. So let's type in mensch. Ah, look at that's working. Let's hit enter, and it's still flashing. Now you can probably hear my cat crying. She's meowing down here. You gonna come up, Popey? So you see the cursor is flashing, and now my helpers come. This is Hope, and she likes to sit here and help me do this. So you see the cursor is flashing. So let's type in the password now. Of course, my Arch Linux systems are set up that, well, automatically like this. When you type in the password, you don't see any asterisk or any activity, right? And I like that. So I'm going to put my password in. I'm going to hit enter. That came up fast. Now let's type in startx. Now look at, see, now you can see startx. Let's hit enter. And first thing you notice, the bottom bar is there. Secondly, look at the seconds are working in the clock, and the clock is live. Let's do the menu, and the full menu is there. Let's do xterm. Ah, that opened up fast. Now let's do htop. Oh, look at the typing is working in the terminal. And now we're running at 238 megabytes around. Okay, 240. This is not bad considering this is the most current stable kernel, because the most current stable kernel uses more RAM than the long-term support kernel and some of the other kernels that I used in previous videos. That's not bad. But anyways, everything's working. Full menu. The clock is active. My typing is working. Let's close this. So now I'm going to close my virtual machine. I'm going to shut down. Now, so you remember when I went to shut down the system before, the word shut down now didn't even show up. But when I hit enter, it shut it down. So I'm going to shut it down. So I'm going to close Virt-Manager. So now we fixed the system. Now there's two other things. Number one, it reversed updates for apps that I didn't want it to reverse, because I reversed all the updates from the 25th of December. So when I did that reverse a few moments ago, it reversed those apps too, and I didn't want to reverse those apps. I just wanted to revert Qemu. Also, so I want to fix those apps so that they're going to be totally up to date. And I also want to stop the system from updating Qemu until either Arch Linux or the Qemu developers fix it. I don't really know who's responsible for fixing it. I suppose it would be the Qemu people. I'm not really sure. And also, just as a side note, if you're running Debian or a Debian-based system, you probably won't run into this problem because they don't update so fast. Anyways, so like I said, that's what I want to do is I want to re-update those apps that had nothing to do with this, and I want to stop the system from updating Qemu until it gets fixed. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to go back to my terminal, and I'm going to do sudo pacman. I'm doing that wrong. Let's do sudo vim etc pacman conf. Put my password in. Let's just go to the top. So here we're at the top. And if you've never been in this file before, if you look at line 25, right here we have the word Ramina. That word Ramina won't be in there, but the hashtag ignore package equals will be there. Now, the word Ramina was there because back in the summertime, like I mentioned earlier, I installed an older version of Ramina, and to stop it from upgrading to the newer version, I put the word Ramina there, and I deleted this hashtag to activate the line. Now, right now, I'm using the most current version of Ramina from the AUR, and it's working. So I put the hashtag here to deactivate this line, and I just left Ramina in there. So like if you go into your pacman conf file and you've never touched anything in there, the word Ramina won't be there. But on line 25, you will have hashtag ignore package equals. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, now like I mentioned earlier in the video too, is that I was wondering how I was going to do this because Ramina was one package. Now when I wanted my pacman to ignore updating Ramina, I just had to type one word in there. But Qemu, there was about 30 packages of Qemu. How was I going to do that? And this is how I did it. So first I activated the line. I'm going to delete the hashtag to activate the line. Now the line's activated. So now I'm going to go to the end and I delete Ramina. Whoops. Let's try that again. And I'm going to type in Qemu, and I'm going to put an asterisk there. Okay, and let's get out of there. So now we have an asterisk there. So Qemu asterisk is going to tell the system, don't update anything related to Qemu. So I'm going to save the file. I'm going to clear the screen. Now I'm going to do vim sudo vim etc pacman d mirror list. So I'm going to go back into my mirror list, and I'm going to go to the beginning of this line. Instead of deleting it, I'm going to put the hashtag. Oops. Oh, hit the wrong button. Where am I? Okay, so instead of deleting this line, I'm going to put the hashtag there to deactivate it. And the reason why is that maybe down the road I might want to use that again. And the next time I want to use it, I'll just have to delete the hashtag to activate it, and then go in here and adjust the dates. I won't have to remember how to type the line. I'll just have to change the dates. So I'm going to leave it there, but deactivate it. Now I'm going to activate some of my mirrors. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to just activate 2 mirrors. And I'm going to save the file. And I'm going to clear the screen. Now I'm going to sync my mirrors. So I'm going to do sudo pacman syy. So it's syncing the mirrors. And now I'm going to update the system. And what it should do is update all the apps from December 24th until now. Well, really from December 25th. It's going to update all the apps from December 25th until now, but it's going to ignore Qemu. So that way my system will be totally up to date except for Qemu and my Virt-Manager should still be working. So let's try it. Let's do sudo pacman syu. Let's see what happens. Okay, so now this is what it's doing. Before I say yes, let's scan up. So it's telling me, warning, it's doing a, so it's telling me it's doing, it's starting a full system upgrade, right? That's right here. Full system upgrade. But it's warning me it's ignoring all these Qemu files. Okay. So it's not going to upgrade Qemu, but now it's upgrading all these 13 packages. So my system is going to be totally up to date. So those packages that got reversed, because I reversed everything back to December 24, those packages are going to be re-updated. And I'm glad I'm doing that because look at one of them is systemd. I didn't even notice that. So systemd is going to be re-updated and all the packages are going to be re-updated except Qemu. My system will be totally up to date except Qemu. And let's hit enter. And sorry for if I'm repeating myself too much, or I know I like to over-explain myself. And next, when this is finished, and this is only going to take a moment, I'm going to go back into Virt-Manager and make sure it's still working. I'm going to open up a virtual machine and see if it's still running properly. And then I'm going to close the video. Now, the other thing, okay, here we go. So let's close the terminal. Let's go back to where I run my virtual machines. Let's open up Virt-Manager. Let's open up, well, you know what? This time I'm going to open up a Debian, just for the heck of it. Let's open up Debian. Let's play it. Just want to make sure everything's working. And it is. Let's make this full screen. And of course, when it wasn't working, my Debian wasn't working, my Arch Linux wasn't working, it didn't matter which virtual machine I tried opening up, they weren't working properly. Let's type in mensch. Like even there, when I opened up my Debian, and I didn't do this on camera, but the other day when I opened up Debian, in the login, or the display manager, or the login manager, even when I typed in mensch there, it didn't come in the field. I thought, what's wrong with my keyboard? And the other day, I forgot to mention this. So the other day, before I tried rebooting, I unplugged my keyboard, I plugged it back in. I unplugged the mouse, I plugged it back in. Didn't fix it. I couldn't figure out what was going on. So let's put my password in. And there it is. Now I know I'm in Arch I'm in Debian, but it looks like I'm in Arch Linux, right? Because I'm in this Debian system, I installed the awesome window manager with my configuration file. So you can see the clock is working. It's active. Let's do the menu. My full menu is working. Let's click on Xterm. Let's type in, and my typing is working. Okay. Let's do HTOP. And HTOP is running. Let's quit. Let's do a neo fetch. And we'll see I'm in Debian. So my Debian system is working. And everything's working. So Virt-Manager is still working. And the clock is active. Okay, so now I'm going to shut down. Now in Debian, if you do shut down now, it doesn't work. What you have to do is sudo. You have to do sudo shut down now. Put my password in, and then it shuts down. In Arch Linux, you don't have to do sudo. And now you can hear it. I don't know if you can hear the dog barking. I live in a building. I live in an apartment, and there's a dog next door in the other apartment. So my neighbor has a dog. I don't know if you could hear him barking. Hope the mic wasn't picking that up. So that's how I fixed Virt-Manager. Now I realize this is a temporary fix because there's a possibility that if I keep running it in this manner for the next few months, there's a possibility that other files and packages that Virt-Manager is dependent on, that they get updated, and that there be incompatibility issues, and Virt-Manager might stop working. This happened with Romina, that after I was using an older package for 2 months, other dependencies that are connected to it got updated and it didn't, and it stopped working. So there's a possibility that if I end up using this old version of Qemu for a month or two, that eventually it might stop working because other dependencies that work with it will be updated, and Qemu will be on the old version, and they won't work together. They'll be incompatible. So this is a temporary fix. Hopefully the Qemu developers will fix it. And honestly, I don't know if it's up to the Arch developers to fix it or the Qemu developers to fix it. I'm thinking it's probably up to the Qemu developers to fix it, but I really don't know. I'm just guessing. So hopefully there's an update coming soon, and it might take a little longer to get a fix out because we're in the middle of the holidays. You know, it's in between Christmas and New Year's. This is not a good time for an important app to go wonky and not work properly. So because this is the holidays, it might take a little longer for it to get fixed, but hopefully it will get fixed and I'll be able to update my Qemu and Virt-Manager will work properly. Or my virtual machines will work properly. Now, I'd be interested, do you use virtualization? Do you use virtual machines? And if you do you use Virt-Manager? Do you use Qemu? And if you use Qemu, do you use Qemu in a terminal? Because you know you can use Qemu in the terminal. You don't have to use Virt-Manager. Now, I don't know how to do it, but you could just go into the terminal and type in commands to make a virtual machine and type in commands to start the virtual machine and run it. But I don't know how to do that, but some people do it. And it's just easier to do it with Virt-Manager on top. So do you run virtual machines? Do you use Qemu in the terminal? Do you use Qemu with Virt-Manager on top? Or do you use VirtualBox or some other machine? And if you do use Virt-Manager on top of Qemu, are you having a problem? Did you do an update? And are you having a problem running your virtual machines? And are you having the same problem that I was having? Let me know in the comments what you think. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like it and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I am the Linux Mensch.